You look at over the last 5 years, if you look 5 years ago to 2020, 100% of the states in the United States have had an increase in property values, and that national average is 55%. So pretty significant. Hey, what's happening, friends? The question that we probably get most often in today's market is, what are prices going to do? Are they going to come down? There's a lot of fear right now about certain markets. You see in the media, price values are starting to fall. And so there is a saying in the real estate world that you shouldn't wait to buy real estate. You should buy real estate and wait. And the fact of the matter is, nobody can predict what prices are going to do in the short term, but definitely there is reliable data and predictions over what prices do in the long term. And so there is this concept of the 5-year rule in real estate. And I'm going to walk you through some data here and look at it and give you some perspective on over 5 years. You can pretty much count on prices will always rise, and we'll look back at the data and illustrate this. But in the short term, very hard to tell you what's going to happen next 6 months, year, maybe 2 years. But if you're looking to buy a home and live in a home over a longer period of time, 5+ years, it is a very, very safe investment. And this is what the data shows us over time. So if you look at, this goes all the way back by quarter to 1992. This is the amount of appreciation or depreciation during those time periods. And if you look at the red period here, this is obviously the recession in 2007 to about 2011. There was negative appreciation. So in those years, we saw 5 to 10% decreases in the price of homes. But if you look over the long run, there is always a 5 to 10% increase year over year, quarter over quarter. And the average over the last about 35 years has been 4.56% appreciation. So over time, that's per year. So that compounds year over year, and really what leads to the increase in the cost of housing. But if you look at the average appreciation over the last 30 years, about 4.5%. So very, very safe bet over time that you're going to have appreciation and prices will go up in the long run. If you're looking to relocate here on the Big Island, I want to share with you a resource that we put together. Over 80 agents from my team, expert agents here on the Big Island, put together a relocation guide that will help you evaluate all of the important factors that you want to take into account before you move here to the Big Island. School districts, healthcare, employment, all of the things that you got to think about, we put into one home buyer's guide that will help you figure out what is best when you start this relocation process here to the Big Island. So if you want this guide, just click on the link below, fill out the form. We will send you the guide for free. And if you want to take the next steps and have a conversation with us, we'd be happy to help. And then right now, in the media, there's a lot of discussion about prices are falling in certain markets. And these are all of the markets that we're seeing negative appreciation or depreciation currently, right? Negatively affected home prices. And if you look across, it's pretty spread out throughout the country, but very small numbers, right? 5%, 3.2%. And the thing to think about though is if we look at this over a 5-year period, so this compares, the blue line compares the appreciation in prices since 2020, and the red bars are the year over year decrease in prices. So the current headlines are the stuff that you're seeing right now. But if you look over time, I mean, even in the worst market, right, in the Austin, Texas market, where there was a 5% decrease year over year, they're up 33% since 2020. And so you're still talking about a 28% increase in prices there, and a very, very safe investment if you bought real estate. So over time, again, if you look at real estate in the long run, it's almost always a safe bet, and you don't have to worry about losing money over the long run. In the short term, things can happen, markets can be volatile, but again, we cannot predict that. And so if you look at over the last 5 years, if you look 5 years ago to 2020, 100% of the states in the United States have had an increase in property values, and that national average is 55%. So pretty significant. The darker the color is, the higher the appreciation. So if you look at states like Montana or Idaho or Arizona, I mean, 60+% appreciation over the last 5 years. Here in Hawaii, we saw 46%, so almost 50% appreciation across the last 5 years. So again, whatever's going to happen in the next year or two, that's going to be dependent on sub markets. Not every single market is seeing decreases in prices. We're not seeing that here in Hawaii yet. It may come, we don't know for sure, but if you look at 5 years from now in 2030, you'll feel like you made a good investment if you bought today, irregardless of what happens over the next year to 2 years. And I always want to end with the reminder, right? This is a graph not super easy to read, but this is going all the way back to 1964 and median home prices. And if you go back to 1964, I mean, we're talking $20,000 or $30,000 to buy a home, and then you come across to the 2024, and we're talking about 400 plus thousand. And this is national averages, right? This varies upon markets, but over time, the places that we saw dips in this graph are usually 1 to 3 year dips. This was the Great Recession right here, where we saw the most significant decrease in prices really in history in the real estate market, but it's only happened one time since 1964. Every other decrease has been very short. Even during recessions, in most cases, the market recovers very quickly and continues on. And if you look at the time frame that we're in here on the upper right hand side, we saw that peak in 2022. Things have definitely cooled off, but if you look at these periods of cooling, they're usually 1 to 3 years, and then things continue to pick back up, and the graph always goes up and to the right when it comes to prices. So again, you don't ever want to wait to buy real estate. You want to buy real estate and wait, but over time there's not a ton that you have to worry about in terms of what's going to happen with prices. If you're doing a short-term investment, then you're definitely taking on a lot more risk, but over time, if you need a place to live, you need a stable payment that you can lock in today, it's always a good idea to buy when you're ready, capable, and able, and not wait to try and time the market, because that's almost impossible, and anybody who tells you that they can is lying. If you have any questions about this or anything else real estate related, you can always book a meeting with me in the comments below. There's a link to my calendar. You can always email me at dylan@buybigisland.com. Happy to have a market discussion with you. Always appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.